live in Canada and study in Canada?
Well, it's certainly different from where I was born, obviously. Studies, I'll say it's much more easier than what I learned. I feel like they kind of, it's like more like stuff I learned already, like fifth grade stuff, sixth grade, seventh grade at best.
Mm-hmm.
It's much more cleaner. That's one thing I appreciate more. Much more well kept. I think that's nice because there's more volunteers cleaning around.
Right.
Yes, where in my old school there's like only one janitor and that's about it. And everyone seems to be much more nicer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because there's like many people from different places in the world that came in here to learn. Maybe that's why they're nicer. But yeah, I think that's like the biggest changes that I notice learning here.
Okay. So is there more pressure studying here? Is there less pressure?
I'll say there's like less pressure because I've been here. I feel like there's the way they study is more like much more funner, much more exciting. There's a bit more color.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least we get to do projects about actual topics happening around the world, or stuff like that. More creative branch than just like something more mundane, more boring.
Right.
Which makes things less stressful. I think that's a good teaching method in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I enjoy it a bit more.
That's good. And how important is it to know English well?
Well, English is one of the most spoken language in the world, and I think it's very useful if you want to communicate with people around the world, because when you think of language and to talk with other people, you usually would think of English because, on the media, you see a lot of people speaking English. You look around in videos, there's also a lot of English. Usually in the subtitles or translators, there will be English. That's
options there.
Yeah, and it's always a good opportunity to branch out to more European countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they have great opportunities.
Yes.
To work, study, etc.
They do.
Yeah.
So your pronunciation and everything, you sound very, very fluent, and your pronunciation is lovely. So what are some tips you would give for other English learners?
Tips. Well, for starters, when I was a kid, I started learning English through like YouTube videos, like more popular cartoons like Peppa Pig, Octonauts, Dora the Explorer. Well, Dora the Explorer is more Spanish, but I think people get it.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that I watched a lot of it, like a lot of episodes every day on TV, and then for somehow one day it suddenly those words imprinted in my mind. I suddenly can remember, like, because they use really basic sentences, which is really easy to understand the moment you get the grasp of vocabulary words, and there's images which makes it easier to like guess what these words mean, because there's pictures, illustrations. Therefore it kind of gets easier to remember. And well, of course, not only watching videos isn't like the only thing. I also remember like playing a lot of like flashcard games, where I remember like where my mom told me like a word in Vietnamese and I'm supposed to find the English word for it. And then there's also books, well, picture books correctly, where I remember like I also remember reading a lot, because a lot of picture English books. Not only because they're like similar to cartoons, they're not moving, but they have enough information to know what you're reading.
Right, and it's more interesting because you can look at a picture too.
Yeah.
Okay. So watching English YouTube every day would be a good.
Yeah, it also helps you connect with the culture as well, which kind of helps if you want to live in some European countries